Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here again for Brave, for career women to embody confidence, reclaim their worth, and discover their purpose. I am so excited to welcome Diane Strand here today as our speaker. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Diane, and then we'll dive into our conversation. So Diane is an award-winning executive producer at JDS Studios and the TV show Spirit of Innovation, the first Riverside County local news and information program. She's the majority owner of the JDS Video and Media Productions Inc., JDS Actor Studio, and the founder of nonprofit JDS Creative Academy. And she's a two-time best-selling author on entrepreneurship and show business. And she provides pathways and career opportunities in the visual, performing, and digital arts. And Diane, I'm so thrilled that you are here with us in Brave to share a story about bravery. We were chatting about this a little bit before coming in, and I'm just excited to have you in here because one of the things I think is so powerful for the women who are in this series and participating is actually seeing the breadth of experiences of the speakers and really starting to see what it takes to be brave and how many different ways that it shows up. So I'm really excited that you're here with us to share your story of bravery and your experience with it.
Well, thank you, Nicole. It's an honor to be here. When you talked, we're talking about the series Brave. It's such an important feeling to have an entrepreneur. I was telling you a little bit earlier how, every day you have to be brave every single day. As an entrepreneur, I get up and I do something that I've never done before, and it takes courage to make those steps. I'm a pathway creator, and that's what I do for a living. When I think about Brave and how I kind of got here, I have to go back 18 years ago was really when I launched my business. And that's when I, kicked the W-2 to becoming a 1099 and making that transition. And that was huge. I had a 3-year-old at the time and not knowing, where ends were going to meet and how we were going to make our own little mini production company happen. I was a successful producer in the entertainment industry, making over 6 figures a year, going back 18 years ago. And that was a lot of money back in the day. And when we decided to cash in our chips, so to speak, and make a huge change, but it happened like that. It really was a split decision, and that's how I knew it was right. I had come home after a really long day, a frustrating day working in reality television, which can be a little grueling, and I missed dinner time and bedtime with my 3-year-old, and I was a little heartbroken about that. And my husband looked over at me, and he's in the entertainment industry. He's an actor, and he was doing some directing at that time. And he said, what if we cashed in our chips, we sold the house, we moved down to San Diego, we were in LA, and started our own production company? And I looked at him and I went, yes. And it was that simple. Everything kind of works. And that's been my philosophy as an entrepreneur, is you have to leap. You pack your own parachute, you know that it's going to open, you say yes, and you show up. And those are the bravest things I have to do every single day, because it would be so easy to say, today I'm just going to lay low, because I don't answer to anybody but myself. But every day I, pull up those big girl panties and I get brave and I do something I've never done before. Nicole, it's such an honor to actually really meet you in person, because we're part of the same mastermind. And when I started in a mastermind group with other individuals, I did not feel so alone. And that is also, being brave, because I missed the people in the beginning that I didn't even like at work, and so I had to be brave to continue to show up. The toughest days as an entrepreneur, I would not change for my best days as an employee. Even when I'm not sure how you're paying the bills and I'm not sure what comes next, the clients are asking for something that I'm not even sure I know how to produce, I figure it out. I sit down, I go back to basics. I trust in the fact that I know what it is that I do, and the answers are going to come back to me. And it's a leap of faith. And I take that leap of faith I take it as an honor. I wear it as a badge, but at the same time, I know that there are some times that I just have to trust. I trust in the support that I built around me. I trust in the colleagues that, are there for answers, sometimes to vent, sometimes to also have that enjoying the wins, having a place to do that. Those are brave moments when, we all like to put the happy things out there on social media, but then we don't want to seem too braggy or being able to, toot your own horn. But if you're not going to do it, nobody else is. And you have to just sometimes say it, and say it for yourself, and put yourself out there and say, oh yeah, and sign up, I'll do that. Being brave, coming out, and saying, I want to be someone who can speak at the Brave series is another brave step. It's putting myself out there and saying, I can be brave. I can show you that I can be brave, and I can do those things. So I love the series. I love the topic. I love talking about it. I find that, sometimes I just, I close my eyes a little bit, I peek, and then I just jump and I just go. And that's been one of my, really, I would say one of my superpowers is that, I just have the faith and the confidence in myself that, I will figure it out as I go along. And sometimes I trip, sometimes I fall, and that's okay. But then the bravery comes because I dust myself back up, but I back off and I get back up and I do it again. It's been 18 years of going at it. I've launched 3 businesses in those 18 years. It's a consistent evolution of what's next. How do I go? How do I level up? How do I not lose what I've built, but do something new and something different to bring not only to the people I'm already serving, but to even be able to serve more. So I keep looking for those opportunities to be brave, because that's when I know that business will grow and success will come.
That's incredible, Diane. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I had a lot of questions come up as you were talking. And I'm curious because when you said that leaping is your superpower, I was like, oh man, I know so many people who wish they had that superpower, because I know a lot of women who are perfectionists or people pleasers, and they really get stuck. Like they get stuck in thinking they have to do life a certain way. They don't know how to make that leap. And so I'm curious, not about the leaping part so much, but after you leap, and this is where I get stuck sometimes. I leap and then I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, do you get that? And then what do you do in that part of it? Because there's so many, to me, there's many pieces of bravery, right? There's the initial gut instinct, there's the going, and then there's the afterward, which can be quite challenging as well.
Yeah, not to say the overwhelm does not get overwhelming. I can get caught up, I can be overwhelmed in the overwhelm. And that's usually when I spin a little bit out of control, but I try and pull myself in. I focus on small little tasks, things that I know that I can get done, so I can feel that I accomplished something. Because not everything, I would work until my day was like done and I couldn't figure out anything else to do for that day. And then I would go to bed and I would stress. And I found out my stress was more than when I would do what I could do for the day and then realize I've done it. And then tomorrow's a new day. It's another day. We can move on. Yeah, I'm a stress monster. There is no doubt about that. You have to take self-care in those moments when it becomes overwhelming. Sometimes the best thing I can do for myself is hop on my bike and go for a ride, because sometimes I can process. I do some of my best thinking in the shower. Those kinds of places really help me focus and structure out my day. I practice the Pomodoro method, which is if I can sit down and work for 2 hours and know that I can accomplish 15 tasks in those 2 hours, even if they're small, clean out my email, make a note of everyone I need to get back to. I make a lot of lists. If you saw my desk, I have post-it notes everywhere, and I take them so that way I can cross something off my list. I can move that post-it note. I can feel like I'm accomplishing something, and then I don't get caught so much in the overwhelm of it because it's real. I mean, even like a day like today, I'm caught up in like 4 or 5 things that are going on, but I prioritize. Not everything has to be done in the moment. And that was the biggest thing I had to learn. I would look at, well, how did they get that done? They didn't get back to me for 3 weeks. How did they become successful? And then I realized that maybe I don't have to have everything done in one day and move on to the next. And I do a lot of planning. I talk it out. Sometimes I talk to myself in the fact that I write it out. That's been very successful for me, especially when it comes to book writing. Today, March 7th is when we're recording this for your series, and I'm launching a book today. Today's book launch day for me.
That's huge. Whoa, my gosh. I feel so
is.
honored you're here on a book launch day. Having launched books like that is a massive effort. So congratulations.
Thank you. So, I keep focused in what is important and what the day really means. I try and document, support comes, the overwhelm is not as big as it was because the support comes in time. I used to be more of a one man, one woman show with myself and my business partner in life and business. But now I have a staff of 18. So it helps with delegating a little bit and growing and being able to just sit and think. Take time for yourself, because then I find out that I can recharge and not get so caught up in the overwhelm, and write it down. Those are my big tips that keep me focused, because I'm like, oh, you know what? That can wait 3 days, but in my head, it all has to be done now. So different ways to process it out.
Yeah, I mean, aren't we all? We're like, it should all be complete today already, not done, right? And then we have to, but I love what you said too, like just starting to take it out a little bit at a time. I think that's really important. And a lot of my clients say this too. It's like you get into this idea that progress is only the big leap, but the big leap is just the first step, really. And then it's all these little things you have to do to keep following through that is actually going to lead you to the thing that you're excited to have.
It's so true. I mean, and you can't, I'm a perfectionist by all means when it comes to putting material out there, but at the same time, you have to make your message, in the fact that when you put it together. When I started my nonprofit, I had 2 very successful businesses. I was roaming around this idea of starting a nonprofit and getting people together. And I kept trying to think, well, who's going to be the right board? And do I have enough money? And how is this going to work? And somebody looked at me and said, you know how to run a meeting. Call the people that you're thinking about getting together and have the meeting, and you'll get the next step out of that. I was caught up into how do I make all this work? And that first meeting was around my kitchen table. Here we are 9 years later with a multi-million-dollar nonprofit company. And I was worried about having $700 at that time to file the nonprofit license with the IRS. So, and that was 8 years ago. So it evolves. You just have to start somewhere, and the next step will reveal itself in the process. Because if you try and plan too many steps ahead, you'll realize that you missed one in that process. So sometimes the next step reveals itself. And if you get too caught up in plan, then you miss the step that revealed itself.
That's such gold, honestly, Diane, right? Because I my clients too get so strung out on the like, how am I going to do it? I'm like, you're not always going to know how. And I love that advice, like just hold and wait. And then you're going to get the revelation of what comes after that. And having the patience to get to that moment instead is so powerful. So I'm so grateful that you shared that with us today, Diane. And I'm so grateful you're here to share with us, like, having nonprofits and 2 companies and really building out this whole life for yourself that came with, quitting a W-9 job and like moving to San Diego. Like how awesome. Well, I'm wondering, how can people reach you and where can they be in touch with you and learn more about what you do?
Well, the best way to always search anything JDS is hashtag JDS family. And that will take you whether you want video production, you want the actor studio, or you want the nonprofit creative academy. I'm all over social media, as well as there's lots of websites, whether you want to see the TV show or our 3-day festival, DigiFest, which is coming up right around the time that your series is coming out. So I'm super excited for that. And I'm just excited to connect with anybody who wants to talk about how the arts can level the playing field, whether you are looking to break into it, you're a passion of it, somebody who wants to work in this industry. I help create those pathways, open up doors. Everyone always says, what do you do for a living? And today I say, I make dreams come true. And I provide hope. And we all know how that is defined these days, which is help one person every day. And when I learned that actually about a year ago, I used to always say that's what I did. I never had an acronym for it. And now I have an acronym. So, then that's what I do every day is I at least set out to help one person every day. But you can't forget to help yourself too.
Yes, exactly. Well, Diane, thank you so much for being part of Brave. Reach out to everyone who's watching. Reach out to Diane if you're like, I need some help getting some dreams come true, because she's going to be your woman for that. Diane, I'm so grateful you're a part of Brave. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your energy with us today.
Oh, thank you, Nicole, so much for having me. I'm excited to be a part of it.